And spring is upon us today. It was sunny out and made me feel all, I don't know, it makes you feel good when birds are chirping, sun's out. Makes you start thinking about getting stuff done around the house and just getting to do something other than come home and have to be inside because it's dark and cold.
I concur.
Smell grass today, people cutting grass. That's a good smell. It's like a very fresh smell. Have you noticed? It just makes you want to makes you want to sniff it.
Across the street there, Frank's been buzzing his yard. I don't know where he got his mower at. It must be some commercial grade super turbocharged mower because he can buzz that thing doing about 15 mile an hour, and it's nice as a putting green over there. But that smell wafts over to the shop, but it's got that clean.
Such a good smell.
Well, it's the spring's in the air, man.
Yeah.
Birds are chirping and the flowers are starting to pop. I see lilies starting to pop now over the hill there.
You got a couple yellow ones down by your, I don't know what those are, but you got a couple yellow blooms by your tree down there. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I love that smell of grass, though. I love it. He actually, with that lawnmower, he came over to our house last year. Remember, it was all wet for like 3 months, and you couldn't cut your grass. There were like sections of my yard just squared off because I got stuck like 3 times trying to cut them, and you couldn't cut because it was swampy. That was last year. Was real wet. This year, not so bad. But anyway, the thing that I remember most about spring, we were in college. Spring semester, and there was a river we found in Tennessee, and we would go down. We were so bored because, just feeling good as a young person, and you just wanted to go out and do something. I think we went to Walmart and got inner tubes, and there was like this river, and we kind of knew where it was going, but we kind of didn't, so it was part of the adventure. So we just blew these inner tubes up, and then we took off. It was like underneath a bridge. We got on there and we just kind of started floating down this river. And I remember floating down there for like, we might have been 2 hours. We saw like water moccasins and stuff. And there was a part where we saw this bridge. We were passing under it, and that was like the last landmark that we were familiar with when we were driving around. So the current had picked up a little bit, and we were trying to get off to the right side. And there's like this tree that comes over the bank. And it just kind of like, bowed up like that. And so one of the guys, and here we are in like these rubber ducky flotation devices. And he grabs a hold of this tree, and I grab a hold of him. And then I grab a hold of this other guy, and he loses his sandals. So he's splashing me, trying to get me to let go. And the sandals float down the river. And then, so he took off. And then what our idea was, I was going to climb up this guy while he held the tree. And I was going to climb up the tree and then help him get up onto the bank or whatever. And I remember, getting up on that tree and shaking it a little bit, trying to get my stance or whatever. And he's back reclined on this thing, like holding onto this tree. And when I was climbing up that tree, this big spider, dude, about that big, I don't know what it was, but it landed right on his crotch. And all he did was he let go of the tree. He just
started his voice go up and
oh yeah, he was He let go, and we kept floating down the river. That's needless to say, but he did one of those, I don't know what that was, like a thrust or whatever, just trying to bail.
Sort of a demon exorcism right there.
So around springtime, I always think of that for some reason. Because we were excited back in college, and we wanted to go float down the river. So that was funny. That was a good memory I had. And golfing. If anybody golfs, it's a good time to start getting your clubs out. I was talking to my little brother about golfing today. That's fun. That's a nice social distancing sport. You can get out there all by yourself.
I guess they've been busy. Golf courses have been busy.
I drove by the golf course the other day, and it was packed.
Yeah, I heard that.
Packed. I mean, everybody's, takes their turn. You have to stand away from each other.
I think of them morels.
The morel mushrooms.
The morel mushrooms. I happen to have a buddy that happens to have a problem with them. He really, really likes morels. He'll trade steak
From Morels.
From Morels, yes.
I feel like they taste like steak if you
about
cook
this
them
time of May usually, but they're saying they might come on early this year. I don't know, beans we're kind of having an early spring. You know, the grass is up already and everything.
Yeah.
But you usually start seeing them May apples or whatever. Then they'll start popping up out of the ground, and then you want to get out there and start looking around.
Where are they at? They're
peeling
right
elms and
beside-
dead elms.
yeah, right beside the trees.
Apples, apple trees. Sometimes apple orchards have them. I've heard people say they've even found them next to like pine trees and stuff. But like old abandoned apple orchards or like that. Sometimes that roadbed down there has them, and sometimes it don't. That old right of way down there.
Yeah.
They say old strip mines where the ground's just been not reclaimed and rocky, odd soil. Sometimes they'll pop up on there. Last year, some of them guys really, I just don't have that knack. I mean, but I usually end up getting one of my Hill Jack buddies around here hook me up, and then Mr. Milhone is the mushroom connoisseur.
Oh yeah.
He's got a problem. He really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jenny with them berries.
Yeah, the berry assassin. That's another thing.
She goes after those
We'll be
black
getting our
berries.
berries.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Makes
berries will start coming. I noticed the berry briar patches and stuff. The green's starting to come on them already too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you got a lot back here. We used to do that as kids too, find them. But yeah, spring is here, and we're excited about it. And this is kind of a cool spring. A spring is like a rebirth. It's like a new beginning. Kind of. I think that's why inside of most of everybody is just it makes you feel good. You've been kind of cooped up. If you live up north, you've been cooped up a little bit, and once the weather starts getting nice, sun starts staying out longer. You get off work and you got some time to do something still. And it's not dark. So it just makes you feel good. Makes me feel good. There's a lot of knowledge too about spring and about nature and stuff. And the more knowledge you have, the funner you can have with, going outside and, finding mushrooms. I've always had luck with them things beside trees. They always seem to grow right beside a tree. You gotta know where to look, and then fishing's coming up too. Fishing.
I used to really like. I like to go fishing a lot, but now I like to watch them and throw food into them and stuff. I've turned into like.
Well, you got that pond.
It's like an aquarium back there.
Yeah, you got that pond. You stocked them with fish and been protecting them today, I hear.
I've got issues back there. There's problems back there. Certain entities have entered in my realm back there that I am not very happy with. So I'm gonna have to start parking a car back there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna see how you make your own homemade napalm or something. We'll figure something out, but we'll take care of that headache eventually.
Yeah, the pond is in good shape after today, it sounds like, and I'm excited for it, and we'll keep going. And fishing, I don't know. I'm looking forward to fishing. We didn't do a lot of fishing last year, but we did some of it. It's a good time. Where's that? You got anything to add to that there, Daniel?
My prompt, which fishing. I got a story about fishing. You want a story? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Story
I'm looking
time
for stories
okay,
right now.
right.
I got coffee.
I got a good friend of mine, and we went to his pond, and he's, it's his pond. It's his dad's, so he knows his pond. So, I call him, and of course, hey, come over. I'm bringing a buddy. He's got 2 kids. They want to go fishing at my pond. I said, oh, okay, cool. I says, well, what do you need me to bring? Well, he says, make sure you bring night crawlers. I said, okay, I should be able to come up with that. And he says, well, if you got a couple extra poles, okay, yeah, I could probably pull that off. Well, how many poles you got? I don't know. Bring like 5 or 6 poles. So he didn't have any fishing gear. So at any rate, I run up to Campbell's. Campbell's ain't got no worms. That's my bait shop in the summer. Sometimes I go up there, or I get minis out of the creek or whatever. And just didn't have time, so I just grabbed my tackle box, and I got these things called rubber lizards. I don't know if you boys ever played with the rubber. I know Rob and the girls, we've always used them around here.
The best bait for bass.
This time, springtime, because bass seem to either try to eat them or they try to kill them. they bite them and shake them. I think because the lizard must be a natural enemy to the bass eggs or something. I think that's what's going on.
You know what I actually learned in college? My buddy was on a fishing team and stuff, and he used to fish with lizards. And so he said, because he was like a biologist, kind of smarter than I was, and he would fish with these lizards all the time. And so he said, if you would just get them things up there and just dip them, and you knew there were bass around the area, he says the mom would just be protecting her bait. She would actually just grab that thing and swim and drop it off over somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So you always catch fish with lizards. But anyway.
Well, at any rate, we get there at the pond, and I got my lizards. You know, I got my Zoom pumpkin seed lizards, and the boys ain't there yet. And I went ahead and just walked down the corner of the dam and tied one on, flipped it, boom, picked one up, boom, picked another one up. Thought, yeah, these are going to work here. So he shows up with the boys and his buddy, and he says, well, first off, he says, you ain't going to catch nothing with them. Mind you, I caught 3. But at any rate, he says, there's no fish at this corner. You want to go over to the other corner? I said, okay. So he's got his little twin buddies there with him, and the boys, you know, I'm tying and getting their rods ready for him, and I'm showing them how to work the lizards, and him and his buddy, you know, walk over and they leave the boys there with me, which is no problem. So we stayed down at that corner and casting them lizards out, boom, and them kids kept me busy just taking fish off. In the meanwhile, my buddy's over on the other corner with his worms or whatever he's using over there. The guy that owns the pond, and he says, you know, he's watching me. What are you guys using? When he comes over, he's got to check these lizards. Next thing I know, my bag of lizards leaves and goes with them. Yeah, me and the boys. But we ended up doing pretty good with the lizards. But yeah, fishing gets me excited, and I like it. The kids like it. I get a kick out of it. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, fishing's awesome.
I enjoy seeing some guys scream like little girls when it comes time to taking fish off. I'm not going to say cat out loud, but
right, yeah.
I seen him jump an octave when it come time to taking a fish off.
So it that way.
Yeah, he got excited. Little Richie, you know the
Little Richie.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was a kid, you know, them bluegill, we went to Deer Lake Park, and you used to always be able to catch bluegill, at least when I was a little kid. And them things had them spikes on them. And I remember being one of the only kids that knew every time I would they'd say, hey, take it off, you know, and I just grabbed it. It made me feel special, you know. Yeah.
That's a manly thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I got that.
Even at a young age, you know. It's in there.
Let me show you how to do it.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh,
give me that.
Yeah.
You ever go on fishing tournaments or anything? I've never been on a tournament before.
Yeah, I've done that.
I've heard some stories about your tournament days.
Yeah. I've done that too. You want to get this one now too?
Might as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
I rolled out the red carpet.
I got a buddy. I used to fish with a buddy that we went and did bass tournaments. Well, on bass tournaments you can't use live bait. You got to use artificial. So this guy's the one that kind of put me onto the lizards and taught me how to use spinner baits and a lot of different stuff fishing. And he had a boat he put a lot of money in. And I don't know if you guys know the gist of these guys, the bass boats, but, you know, the bigger boat you got, I guess, you know, it's like a man thing too, you know. My boat's 200 some horsepower. How many horsepower is your boat? You know what I mean? It's just... But what the idea, the name of the game is, you know, like the river, when we'd fish the river, is about 5, all right, well, there's about 8, 10 good spots on the river. And some really tend to produce fish, and it's usually at the mouth of a creek or something like that. But so the drag race is on to get to them spots. You know, when the boats get out there, they all get spread out, and then the guy will either count down or he'll say go, and then everybody scatters and goes to their favorite honey spot, either on a lake or on a... But the idea is, you know, the boat, you know, they drag race there. You know, these things will do 75, 80 mile an hour, and they're flying, trying to, they're skipping, jet skiing there. So I'm fishing with my buddy, and you know, we're going down to the river. We're going to do some practicing, but he's been working on his boat. It's a 200 horse boat too, and put all new carbs and did all this work to it. So we're bugging up a high river, and boom, throws a rod through the side of the motor. So we end up rowing to shore. His wife comes and hooks us up and gets the boat home. Well, the next day we got a tournament at Portage Lakes, and we got to get up there. or no, that we was going to Berlin Lake. So we go up there in this group. There's 70 boats. So to do this tournament, you got to go. You got to draw numbers, and they release them in like waves. They call it flights. So 1 through 20 will be the first flight, and the next 20 will be the next flight. The next, every time me and him ever do these tournaments, you draw tags out of a bag, and they're these little floaty things. They got numbers wrote on them for however many guys are fishing, however many teams, and there's 70 teams. Every time we'll get team number 60, 69. It's always the end.
The last one to get called.
Well, this time here we get up there. Now, mind you, we got to take my boat.
Yeah, a little putter.
Yeah, my boat is not a 200 horse. My boat is a 9.9.
Yeah.
Not a 99.
Little pond boat.
Not a 109.
Right.
A 9.9. It is a 9.9 boat. So it's just a little.
It's not very much horsepower for those watching.
It's an overblessed canoe. But anyhow, is what it is. So we got to take my boat to this big dollar tournament.
It's like the first stage from caveman to hey, so we figured out how to make this go.
We're Berlin, and we get to go. And sure enough, pull a tag. It's number 6. Number six.
God was up.
First wave. We're on the first wave, Seth.
The weak boat.
My buddy, he's excited. He's ecstatic. We're in the first wave. We'll be on our lucky spot before any of them. First wave. So he's all hot and excited. Oh, hey, you got to get up there. Oh, get up there close. We're getting ready to take off. Get up there. Hey, when they say 6, they're going. If you're not up there, don't let the other boats go. I mean, he just rattled, man. He is
got excited.
Oh yeah. So he's all cranked up. Mind you, it's a 9.9.
Yeah.
So we get up there.
How far away was that spot?
The spot we needed to travel to on the water was probably
that little 9.9.
3 miles.
Oh, 3 miles with 9.9.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're doing some navigating. You know what I'm saying? So we get up there, sure enough, number 6. Go, he says. Go, go, go. He's screaming at me. Turns around, he's infuriated. Go, go, go. I said, this is it. This is full tilt. This is full bore right here. We are, unless you want to row, we don't go no faster than this right here. He looks, and I mean, you could just see his just
demeanor.
Oh, and he sits and slumps back in the chair and lights his cigarette. So he's mortified.
He died a little bit.
He died a little bit inside.
Yeah.
So we're heading to our favorite spot, the one we're going to get there first because we're number 6.
Right.
These boats are just rocketing past us. We get to the spot. There was already 3 boats sitting there by the time we got there, which didn't stop him. Of course, we just wedged on over the side and started casting. But that's my
that's a good story.
Tournament fishing story.
Yeah, that's funny.
If you need it verified, Mark Wilkeson would be the guy who's fishing. Not to name drop, but yeah, Mark Wilkeson would be the guy. So, all right, where are we headed now?
I don't know. That's a great story. But spring kind of pops up a bunch of activities, and I don't know. I like talking about them all. I get excited about telling stories and talking about spring and what are we going to get into this spring. I know we're building onto a house, so we'll be into that hopefully, Lord willing, and just get some things going. And I'm excited. It's a good year. It's going to be a great year, and I'm excited to go play a little bit. But one thing I keep noticing, it's a reoccurring theme, is even with fishing, with knowledge of the boat motors and, like morel mushrooms, all that stuff. I mean, there's a little bit of basic information that you have to kind of be privy to before you can actually go and enjoy those things, It's almost like, I don't know. You ever when I was little, we had yo-yos. And I remember I got so mad trying to figure out how to do this stupid yo-yo. And it was not fun. For the first week, I stunk at yo-yos. And I remember just being so angry and it wasn't fun. But as soon as you got the hang of it, man, that's all we did as kids. I mean, that's, yo-yos. We play with yo-yos. We got little tricks with them and stuff. And it became fun after that. You know what I'm saying? But It just,
Doesn't seem like it would be.
No, I mean, for a kid, I was,
I know.
I didn't have an iPad back in the day. I had a yo-yo. That was a lot of fun.
It doesn't seem like
It
I
was.
had one too, but I didn't know how to use it.
See, you never got past that stage of knowing how to use it. The knowledge stage.
I hated it.
Yeah, you just hated it.
I thought it was more of a weapon just for.
Well, I guess they were weapons.
That was what I
There's
did.
some more knowledge.
Yeah.
I guess there was. There were weapons actually. I guess the ninja weapon was the yo-yo. I don't know that for sure, but I can see a ninja wielding a yo-yo. But anyway, we're gonna start out in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, and just a little bit about knowledge and how you kind of need it. I mean, you need knowledge to kind of know what you're doing, to have fun, to live life the right way. Knowledge is sort of important, and so 2 Corinthians 2 verse 14, it says, "But thanks be to God, who in Christ always leads us to the triumphal possessions, and through us spreads the fragrance of knowledge of him everywhere. For we are the aroma of Christ to God among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing. To one, a fragrance of death, and to the other, a fragrance of life." I just thought it was interesting. What is that fragrance? I can't say that word tonight, apparently. What is that smell? You smell something? What's that smell? He kind of says, that smell like grass. You smell grass. You're like, what? Who's mowing grass? There's a knowledge behind what that smells like. And he's saying, listen, the knowledge that you have about God and Christ is like a smell to people. Some people hate it. Some people it smells like roadkill, or it just smells horrible and they hate it. And he actually says death. It smells like death. And other people, it's like a sweet aroma. They love it when they hear it. And I've noticed that. I don't know. I got a shop. And I constantly do like social experiments on these customers, just to get an idea. And I think I figured out about 80% of customers are actually good people. And then there's 10% of people that are just having a bad day. And then the other 10% are just people that are just miserable all the time. You know what I'm saying? They're just miserable people. And so, I do little social experiments, but I remember just talking to, I like make a point to talk about God or a positive thing with customers and stuff. And I tell you what, man, I would say 9.5 out of 10 of them, they are all for it. They get all perked up. They get excited. They're like, man, yes, you're right.
Do you think more so now?
I haven't, we haven't had too many customers now, so I haven't really done it. I mean, we were slower than, I tell you, we're slow. But we're talking about laying some other people off too. It's a tough time to be working right now. It's just tough all the way around. But no, 9 times out of 10, man, you start dropping some information that applies to someone's life in a positive way, and about God and about just the knowledge of God, which is this book. Man, people respond so well to it. And it's like the way I like to do it is like we're just talking about stories, you know what I'm saying? And then you just throw it in there. I mean, because it's a part of me. It's a part of you. It's a part of the people that love Jesus, I think. And so it doesn't have to be like, well, you're in 2 Corinthians. Let me read this passage to you. But like, I know about that verse, so I can bring that verse up, or the idea of that verse into a conversation. And people respond to wisdom. It's very interesting. And they look at you and you're like, oh wow, that was pretty smart, but it's like, it wasn't me. I just read the Bible. And wasn't King David one of the ones that said, he said, I'm smarter, wiser than my teachers because I know the words of God. I dwell on the words of God day and night, and it's made me wiser than my teachers. Just interesting. There's a lot of information in this book. But the information that you have, it's a sweet smelling aroma to the people around you, or it's death.
No, you think the way I'm looking at that is just, if you're living as a Christian, you're going to put off a different
smell.
You're
If we
gonna
want to
be-
get in what he says.
Well, I'm just
yeah.
saying, you're going to some people, it's going to be refreshing that,
Yeah.
Hey, the guy's not acting like an idiot, or, he didn't get all shook up, got the fender bender.
Yeah.
He didn't get out screaming. He said, hey, man, things happen, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of is a relief, better smell, if you would have
Yeah,
it,
you can go.
than it would be if the guy gets out screaming,
Yeah.
out irate, hollering, and just
Right.
acting a fool and just an idiot over a scratch paint
Well, 'cause-
job or a little ding on a fender or
Yeah.
something. You know what I'm saying? It's
Well, because break it down. He's saying knowledge is like that. So like you get an offender bender. I know. This old lady in the parking lot, she backed right into me, and I was beeping. She bumped me and everything, and she got out. She was so stressed out, and I said, honestly, I don't even see where anything hit. Like it's not a big deal. I mean, it's a work car. I don't care. That's happened to me like a couple of times. This one other lady, I guess I was going down the road and she pulled out, didn't see me at all. So I floored it because I was gonna get whaled if I didn't speed past her. She hit the back of my wheel well and left a pretty good dent inside. And she comes out, baby screaming, and she's like, "Oh my goodness," wanting to get insurance and stuff. And I looked at her car, and I said, "That's not a big deal." I said, "You really want to get people involved right now? Like, I'm not really into that." Mm-hmm. But it's like the knowledge behind that. Okay, well, what happens if we call the popo? Let's have a scene with the popos. Like, what happens? Both of us kind of get screwed a little bit, It's just, and so when you use that knowledge to react, like people at the shop, they use the knowledge to be patient, or they have an understanding of life a little bit, And then you can always tell the people that are ignorant because they just fly off the handles about the stupidest stuff. And it's just like, you serious? I remember I told one of them, one of the customers, not to wash your car for a week. And he's on his phone the whole time, just he's some bigwig, just firing people, telling this guy to get a hold of this girl and we just got to let her go. And, just kind of that cocky attitude and stuff. And, I put his windshield in, have him sign the paper and say, "Hey, don't wash that for a week." And dude, he looked at me and he says, "You think that would have been a good thing to tell me before?" And it was like, dude, you want to go there right now? I was like, it's just what I say. It's just so you don't wash your car, And it's just like, that guy is obviously miserable. He's on the phone being miserable. Something like that, it's no big deal. It's a car, Just don't wash it for 7 days. And it just bent him all out of shape, just immediately. And he was just irritated now. And it was like, okay, well, have a nice day, And it is a lack of knowledge, because like you put yourself into those moments too, you don't feel good when you're all bent out of shape about everything.
The fruits of the spirit are hard to come by sometimes when it's like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people get angry or there's attitudes exchange, and I'm bad about that myself. I get, things will upset me, and I'll lose my composure sometimes, and but you can totally diffuse a situation, and I've said that 100 times. Robin's done that 1,000,000 times. People come in upset about this or whatever, or we didn't have the tire, or who knows what, and 2 minutes talking to her, and she's got a way about her that can bring them out of it.
Right out of it, yeah.
Just by a calm demeanor and not getting excited and not. She truly shows the fruits of the spirit,
Yeah.
And I'm brown nosing a little bit. It's my wife, so
She's listening.
Yeah,
so.
just who knows? We're married and all, and hint, hint.
But anyways,
wink, wink.
But anyway, it is knowledge, man. It is knowledge. So I think that's cool. I mean, there's something to it. It's almost like a sweet smell when someone reacts the right way. It's because they're understanding. They understand that what's the point in acting like an idiot right now, What's the point of getting all stressed out about this? It's just, there's something very pleasant about being around people that just have that understanding of life and that are just kind of like that. And so the Bible actually teaches, I mean, the knowledge of Christ is the sweet smelling aroma. So how much knowledge, I guess, do you have of Jesus? How much knowledge do you have of God? Does it show in your life? Are you a sweet smelling aroma to others? And then very well, I mean, a lot of the times, sometimes when you are like that, some people, they hate you for it. And the Bible mentions that too. When you're like that, the smell is sometimes death to others. But just something to think about. Do you know this word enough to have the knowledge of Jesus? That's an interesting thought. So, you gave one. Talking about.
Here's in John here, and this is kind of, I don't know, I guess it kind of goes with what we're saying, and this is about loving one another, and this would be like your fruits of the Spirit and showing your, these times, let's face it, people are getting stressed out, and things are, they're worried about each other and worried about parents and worried about a lot of things right now. But here's what it says in John about loving one another. This is the message you heard from the beginning. We should love one another. Do not be like Cain. Cain belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. Do not be surprised, my brother, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love our brothers. Anyone who does not love remains in death. Anyone who hates his brother is a murderer. And you know that no murderer has eternal life in him. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, that we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. If one has a material possession and sees his brother in need, but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words and tongue, but with actions and in truth. This then is how we love, belonging in the truth, and how we set our hearts, and the rest of the presence is greater. Rest of the presence, wherever in our hearts condemn us, for God is greater than our hearts, and he knows everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in other words, to me, that's, Cain killed Abel, and, he smelled of death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of his evil thoughts. And it was all over, jealousy, basically, is what happened there. You know what I mean? So, he's jealous of his brother, and he hated his brother, so he killed him over it. It become hate. So, and then, how we're supposed to act, we should love one another. If we have something that's going to help with somebody else, then, we should love, that's showing, that's the sweet smell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we're showing love for another.
And I find it interesting because, like, you ask a kid, they love everything. I love my doggy, I love my socks, I love this, I love this. And it's like their understanding of love is just new. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, I love it because I like to be around it, And then the older they get, more knowledge they gain, right? You see what I'm saying? And then in the teenage years, man, you're afraid to say you love you, once before that pivotal
You
point.
want to be cool.
Yeah, you can't say I love you too soon, because it takes on a different meaning. Once you say it, you can't take it back. So I just find it interesting. Knowledge is, it makes you more of love. There's more knowledge in love. You see what I'm saying? Even as a kid, there's one way you love, and then when you become an adult, there's another way you love. And then 1 Corinthians 13 even says, hey, love is this. It's patient, it's kind, it's long-suffering, which is patient. It does not envy. It does not, boast itself up. It's not proud. It believes all things. It bears all things. It gives you a list of what love is. So, if you don't know what that list is, how can you be practicing love? It's just like if I don't ever go to math class, how am I going to teach you math? So guys, get into this word and start understanding the knowledge of God and start applying it to your life. amazing things are going to happen. It might even start out like fishing or like the yo-yo for you. It just, you might not be good at it. It's okay. You don't start out good at anything really, unless you're, I don't know.
It's like anything else. It's practice. You got to keep practicing.
Just keep doing it.
Trying and keep practicing. You're gonna fall off the bike once in a while, but you're gonna get back on and keep right on rolling.
Yeah, and then you find somebody that it responds good to it, and it's a rush, guys. It's, man, I honestly believe when Jesus himself said, you know, I've come to give you life and life more abundantly, I think it was talking an awful lot about when you actually go practice your faith out in the world and you see that response that with that person that it smells good to them. And when you see that happen inside of somebody and you're just like, dude, this is what it's about. Like, I am so alive right now. And it's almost like you meet them at a deeper level than you have ever met any stranger in your entire life. And it's just like you want more of that. You realize that this world is not as negative and as bad as the media and all these negative people around you all the time are making it out to be. You know, life is awesome and it is for the living. And so Jesus gives us the knowledge to live life and live it more abundantly. And so go and practice that. Guys, here's a blueprint to live life abundantly. I know that we're practicing that. This is life more abundantly. I never thought I'd be in here doing this stuff with my father-in-law. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, but it's crazy when you start applying it, what God has in store for you. He kind of takes you on a journey, and it's awesome. So, guys, go out there, live life abundantly, and start figuring out how to do that. We'll see you guys next time.